How's it going? I wanted to look at this guy's YouTube channel, Dr. Todd Grande. I'm not familiar, but I know he's very well known, you know? And he does a lot of stuff. 10+ minute, almost 20-minute videos every day or multiple per day about hard-hitting subjects. You know, I'm not even joking. These are serious subjects. So it's hard to produce that much content. I'm very curious about this guy. I do have some background information. We're going to start with this one because it gives us insight into how he tackles a very current subject that I have some knowledge of. He's a professional in the field. I think his PhD is in counselor education and supervision, which is very interesting. And I believe he used to be a clinical counselor. In 2020, he quit his job and went full-time on YouTube. So that's kind of interesting. Associate professor job. I think he was a clinical counselor. Counselor education, he must have been, okay, he's a licensed chemical dependency professional and a licensed professional counselor of mental health. So he has absolutely been a counselor. He's absolutely been a chemical dependency professional, but his specialty is in counselor education and supervision. So that's very cool, you could say. He has 336 million views on all his videos since 2007. Or the channel's been around for quite a while. So I just think it's really interesting because I am a licensed social worker and I have a master's in social work. So we're like not in the same exact field, but we're in the same general field, obviously, of mental health treatment. And we also both make YouTube videos. You know, I guess my first observation is like, wow, okay, so he definitely has like his thumbnail branding set. He likes the color blue. Oh, I know about this. Self-made billionaire. He likes making puns. I've already learned that. Apparently there's all these in-jokes with his audience related to puns. So much so that I did a very brief search about him and saw like people complaining who are fans and like he makes too many puns. Stepson killer invokes dissociative identity disorder as defense. And then it's like the full name of an actual person. Yeah, I mean, obviously they're not his clients, but to just go to that length where you're like, unpopular anchor finally pushes CNN too far. Don Lemon case analysis. Lemon drop. See, he likes those types of puns. He's a very quirky person. Oh, okay, so he reported on this type of thing too. About the trans teacher. I never really looked into this. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't look into it. I don't know the full story. All I really know for sure is that like, wow, that's a lot of attention given to one person with large breasts. That's sort of my main takeaway from the reaction to this case. And so it seems like he was part of that. He got actually way more views than usual by talking about trans stuff in what I'm sure could be a potentially insensitive way. I'm not saying it is, but it could be. It's just a lot of stuff to talk. Oh, trans killer. Transgender ideology and Christianity in the Nashville school shooting. Wow, also now way more views than ever by covering another case of a trans person who certain people seem to enjoy giving a lot of attention. Not a lot of trans joy, or maybe I'm just missing the videos about trans joy. You know, and like the enormous percent of trans people who just have a very positive outcomes from embracing the fact that they're trans. Conservative commentator exposes Daily Wire's plot to overpay him. So I guess you're just on Daily Wire's side. Like you looked at that incident and you were like, yeah, I'm gonna take a side. Teacher dies after being tased 6 times in 42 seconds? Dude, I don't know if you need to make a video about that, man. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Okay, wow. So we will definitely be looking at this.
Well, this is Dr. Grande.
Him talk about the Andrew Callaghan case. After we look at him talk about, in a different button down, talk about the Colleen Ballinger situation. So we will talk about Dr. Grande's discussion of 2 apologies, okay? I have a little background information that leads me to believe his analyses of the Colleen Ballinger apology video is profoundly lacking, and all the top comments are disagreeing with him. Sorry, did not mean to click on that. Oh, wait, that's worth showing. Someone with almost 3 million subscribers commented on Dr. Grande's Colleen Ballinger video and said it's a bizarre analysis that minimize the seriousness of the allegations. One other thing I'll point out is I love how he names his videos. Presidential candidate adds federal charges to resume. Like, this is what I do in my scripts. Like, I refer to like Skylar as like Walter's wife, or like, you know, refer to like what they're doing in very like objective terms sometimes, like to try to emphasize, you know, the objective side of it. It just seems kind of funny to do in your title. UFO conspiracy alleged by vapid hearsay whistleblower. What the fuck, dude? It's not very objective. Okay, so this is the video that put this guy back on my radar and made me remember that he existed. And one thing from looking at his videos before, I don't think I ever really watched them, but I looked at one or two of them. The way he does descriptions is so funny. This video answers the question, can I analyze the Colleen Ballinger apology video, which was released in June 2023. And on the All Gas No Breaks Andrew Callaghan video, this video answers the question, can I analyze case of Andrew Callaghan? And like, dude, why would you phrase it that way? This video answers the question, can I analyze the Colleen Ballinger apology video? Is the answer supposed to be no? Because the answer might be no. All the top comments are so upset with him, and like really deeply upset with him, disagreeing with him. Look, Dr. Grande, I know you read the comments. I know you hear us when we speak. As a clinical psychologist, you know the statistics around victims coming forward. You know most victims stay quiet. The fact that there, quote, aren't many, end quote, complaints is irrelevant, and you know it. If there are a few, there are many. Holy shit. So apparently he says that in this video. So besides just going through the comments, we're going to watch the video. This video will answer the question, can I analyze the Dr. Todd Grande situation?
Well, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the Colleen Ballinger?
He says it also. Why would you use can in this situation?
Oh, this is Dr. Grande.
And why doesn't he say hello fully?
Oh, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the Colleen Ballinger apology video, which was released in June of 2023? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to say that, but you don't have to. It's funny, he says that very, very early on, but I don't even know. You would only have to say that if you ventured anywhere close to a diagnosis.
First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to a timeline of the controversies, a summary of the apology video, then offer my analysis.
Okay.
Colleen Ballinger was born in Santa Barbara, California on November 21, 1986. Her father was a sales manager and her mother was a homemaker. She has 3 siblings. Colleen's career started in 2007. She has been extremely active, mostly in the areas of singing, acting, and comedy. She has performed in theater productions, given private piano and voice lessons, and made many appearances in productions like web series, TV shows, music videos, and commercials.
Okay, this seems like a very bizarre way to start, and it's like he's giving a resume.
In 2008, the same year she graduated from college, Colleen started posting videos on YouTube using a character she created named Miranda Sings. The next year, she started a one-woman comedy act using this same character. Colleen has 3 large YouTube channels, all of which are extremely successful. Here are some of the statistics for her channels at the time of making this video. Her first channel shares her name, Colleen Ballinger. It has almost 9 million subscribers and has been viewed almost 2 billion times.
Yeah, we're almost 2 minutes into the video, Dr. Todd Grande. I mean, I don't know if you're trying to fill out time here, but...
It receives about 1 million views per month. Her second channel is named after the character she created, Miranda Sings. It has over 10 million subscribers and has been viewed...
That face makes me want to fucking cringe. And
over 2.3 billion times. It receives about 1.5 million views per month. Her third channel is called Colleen Vlogs. It has over 3.3 million subscribers.
I'm not joking, and I know people like can say I'm pedantic about shit. This is fucking absurd. To use so many goddamn words to say how many fucking subscribers she has on her 3 channels, you could have said that in one sentence. She has over 3 million subscribers on 3 different channels. Boom, move on. Are you fucking kidding me? And if you think that doesn't represent a warped fucking perspective to approach a serious subject like this, that now you're actually 2 minutes in. I know I made a 3-hour Breaking Bad video. I know I take as long as I fucking want. But come on, you are covering a very serious subject here, and you are 2 minutes in, and you are fucking using literally as many words as possible to describe her having popular YouTube channels. You even said that they're large, and then you said they're successful. They're the same fucking thing, Dr. Todd Grande, right? Like, this is one sentence.
It's worth noting that Colleen's channels used to receive many more views than they do now, sometimes tens of millions per month. Colleen's character, Miranda Sings, represents a significant achievement as
her face is so viscerally disgusting. I'm sorry. Maybe I'll probably blur it out if I edit this together.
As far as her success, this character is supposed to be a self-centered, arrogant, socially awkward, erratic, and irritating young woman who is obsessed with fame. She wears out-of-style clothing that doesn't match and bright red lipstick that is not applied correctly.
Wow, this is really, really bizarre. And like, just gonna point this out, maybe we'll come back to this, maybe we won't. What's the deal with the cacti, huh?
Colleen said that the idea for the Miranda character was inspired in part by women she knew in college. She found them to be rude and untalented.
I want to be clear, I watched how long was the Cruel World Happy Mind? I watched this 2-hour fucking video about Colleen Ballinger, okay? And like, she goes into a lot of the same details that he mentions here, but it's completely different when you're watching a 16-minute video about a specific apology. You don't need the first 3 minutes to be this. If Cruel World Happy Mind spent the same amount of time proportionally, 3 out of 16, let's say 3 out of 16, this is just, he hasn't even moved on yet. That's 18%, okay? So if she spent 18% of, an hour 48, hold on, so that's 108. 18% of 108? 19.44. So that would be if she spent 20 fucking minutes going through these extremely basic details of how this person started their career and got famous. That would be as if she spent 20 minutes on that. Good job, Dr. Todd. You haven't even moved on yet.
In many of the appearances on the internet and television that Colleen has made, she has been in character as Miranda. For example, Miranda appeared on Jerry Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee,
Common Jerry Seinfeld L,
The Tonight Show, and in a Netflix series. Now moving to the timeline of the controversies.
The controversies.
In 2016, Colleen was on a live stream with a male friend of hers. They were handling lingerie as part of this video. The clothing had never been worn by anyone. It was new.
Okay.
Colleen's friend put a bra and underwear on over his clothing to demonstrate how ugly the items were. One of Colleen's fans, a 13-year-old boy named Adam, requested the lingerie and...
That's not actually, I don't think, what Adam said. I think the video actually shows that she suggested it, Colleen Ballinger.
A 13-year-old boy named Adam requested the lingerie, and Colleen eventually mailed the bra and underwear to him.
I don't know. I don't even know where he got that idea that Adam requested the lingerie. I have not heard that. I believe in this Cruel World Happy Mind video, that's not what they say. Here. This is exactly what he's talking about.
Here are some clips from that live stream.
That's Adam in the yellow shirt.
Here are some clips from that live stream.
Oh my god, that makes me laugh. I want to send him something. Do you want the bra, Adam?
Do you want the bra? Sweet.
So that's literally what Dr. Todd Grande is talking about. Let's hear him summarize that again.
A 13-year-old boy named Adam requested the lingerie, and Colleen eventually mailed the bra and underwear to him.
Let's hear Adam requesting the lingerie one more time.
Oh my god, that makes me laugh. I want to send him something. Do you want the bra, Adam?
Do you want the bra?
That's her talking to a 13-year-old. She's a famous celebrity talking to a 13-year-old super fan. sending them lingerie as some sort of sick joke. And Dr. Todd Grande, seemingly out of thin air, is willing to say this.
One of Colleen's fans, a 13-year-old boy named Adam, requested the lingerie, and Colleen eventually mailed the bra and underwear to him.
Todd, I would love to know where you got that information.
It's clear that Colleen knew that Adam was not an adult because she joked about how his parents might be mad.
Oh, that's a great point, Simply Snaps. It would not. I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't even need to say it because Todd is literally making something up. I didn't even think to say it. Obviously, if a kid requested a bra and panties, it would not justify sending it to them on any level, not even 1%. I forgot to even say that. I got so caught up in him just fucking making shit up about this. The information is so readily available.
She shared personal information with him over the course of 3 years. At one point, she even let him post on her Twitter account. After this incident, people found other mistakes that Colleen had made.
Oh, okay. I guess I can't criticize him for literally not giving his own take on any of this. I guess he just does that at the end, he says.
For example, she was featured in a comedy skit that was insulting toward Hispanics. Colleen once talked...
Do you want to say what she did?
...insensitively about a dog that bit her when she was 3 years old. The dog was put down by a veterinarian. And when discussing an incident on an airplane...
He didn't even say what she did. I mean, I just know about that from the other video.
I used to actually rip things up or get angry. So I grabbed my dog for no reason, just grabbed the dog and pinched its skin and dug my nails into it. The dog yelps, turns around to protect itself, and bites me in the face. Oh. And I got stitches and went to the hospital. And
I'm sorry, I forgot the details. Yeah, okay, so the dog bit her because she was torturing and abusing the dog.
I went to the hospital, and they were
Yo, look at the fucking face of the guy next to her. Because that's more typical brain functioning.
It happened, and I was like, the dog just bit me. And then they had to put the dog to sleep because the dog was dangerous to be around. So I murdered a dog.
When she brags about murdering a dog. So that's the real clip, right? And here's what Dr. Todd says. Again, we're not at his analysis, so I can't criticize his analysis. I can only look at how he's presenting information to his audience of 1.32 million subscribers and so many views per month.
Colleen once talked insensitively about a dog that bit her when she was 3 years old.
She talked insensitively.
Colleen released a 13-minute apology video in 2020 titled Addressing Everything. In the video, she accepted responsibility for her behavior, displayed remorse.
Oh, he did a video about that. I think. I don't know. I don't know how many fucking apology videos this person has done.
For her behavior, displayed remorse, and talked about how much she learned from the experience. I don't think apology videos are ever a good idea, but if someone is going to insist on releasing them, the one that Colleen released in 2020 wasn't too bad.
Sorry. You don't think apology videos are ever a good idea? Is that as a retired counselor or is that as a YouTuber? Why would an apology video be inherently a bad thing? It's a weirdly biased perspective.
After this apology video, more people came forward with allegations. For example, fans claimed that Colleen engaged in toxic relationships with them in private chat groups.
By the way, when Dr. Todd Grande earlier mentioned Ballinger's inappropriate relationship with the kid Adam, having Adam work for her as a social media person without, I think, paying him, and definitely not. I don't think she paid him well. If she did, I don't think he just didn't sum up the breadth of that sort of relationship at all. Yeah, I mean, apology videos, it's the one sort of practical, it's one of the more practical ways you can make a video. If you have to make one, you make one. It's not, you don't just randomly make one, you know.
She allegedly asked various people questions like what their favorite position was and were they a virgin.
Does he know that means sexual position and she was talking to children? Did he say children?
Fans claim that Colleen engaged in toxic relationships with them in private chat groups.
He didn't say minors, he said fans. I think some of them were minors, and she was asking them about their favorite sexual position, Dr. Todd Grande.
She allegedly asked various people questions like what their favorite position was and were they a virgin. Colleen was involved in some type of yoga challenge.
That is so disgusting.
Event in 2019, she called a young fan onto the stage and put her in an unflattering position.
Oh, it wasn't unflattering, you fuck. It was fucking compromising and embarrassing.
As a flatulence sound was played over a speaker.
The fart is like even the biggest part, dude. Like what the?
A man who worked as Colleen's assistant claimed that she screamed at him, verbally belittled him, and exploited him for free labor. In response to these allegations, Colleen released a 10-minute apology video in June of 2023, which was simply titled, Hi.
Okay, before we get into this, I'm sorry about that frame. I did think it was kind of weird, the title of Dr. Todd Grande's video. Actress issues scathing musical, quote, apology. So he calls it a, quote, apology and then immediately calls it a regular apology, which is, first of all, kind of weird. And it's also weird to say it's scathing. Like, I have no idea what he means by that. Like, in what way could this be considered scathing except in the way that she is insulting other people, right? He's not saying it's scathing about her, is he? He's saying it's scathing about other people? Like, that's just uncertain to me.
In the video, Colleen played a ukulele and sang. I cannot recall ever seeing a musical apology video before, so I will have to give Colleen points for creativity. Here is a summary of her apology video. Some of this is paraphrased. Colleen sang a refrain which read, quote, all aboard the toxic gossip train, chugging down the tracks of misinformation.
Wow, this guy is completely useless, man. Like, are his scripts like AI generated? Like, what is he just provides so little value. Like, and obviously negative value in this case.
Toxic gossip train, you got a one-way ticket.
Even when he's just like being neutral, he's just providing no value.
To manipulation station, toxic gossip train, tie me to the tracks and harass for my past. Rumors look like facts if you don't mind the gaps that won't survive in the crash, but hey, at least you're having fun, unquote. Colleen's refrain is actually kind of catchy.
So when does he get to the part where he seriously interrogates the fact that this woman did not take accountability for harming minors? When, Dr. Todd Grande, are you going to address the fact that she doesn't take accountability for harming minors, Dr. Todd Grande?
She stated that she wanted to talk to people about a few things. Her team advised her not to say what she wanted to say, but she realized that they never said she couldn't sing. Colleen said, quote, many years ago, I used to message my fans, but not in a creepy way, like a lot of you are trying to suggest.
I mean, you already mentioned that she fucking asked him about sex. You didn't say they were kids, though. You left that part out.
It was more like a loser kind of way, but I was just trying to be besties with everybody, unquote. She suggested that she was like a weird aunt at a family gathering. Online for over 15 years, she felt like she was talking to her friends, but early in her career, she did not appreciate the value of boundaries. There were times where she overshared details about her life. She took accountability and changed this behavior. At this point, Colleen again sang about the toxic gossip train. She suggested those targeting her were lying.
Wow, he almost actually smiled for the first time, like, basically, when he says toxic gossip train. He really likes how she framed it. Imagine that. He really likes that that's what she calls people who were children telling stories of being abused and harassed by her. He really likes that she calls it a toxic gossip train. That's what he likes. It's visible.
About the toxic gossip train.
Disgusting, Dr. Todd.
Targeting her were lying, but at least they were having fun. Colleen believes that everyone should learn from their mistakes, which is what she has tried to do. She suggested that her critics do not care. Taking accountability is not really what they want. they want to ruin her life. Colleen predicted the types of comments which would be posted on her video. People would say that she was a gaslighting and manipulating narcissist. They would never make the mistakes that she has made. Colleen invited all those who were perfect.
Those are two ridiculous straw man.
To criticize her. She predicted that people would be disgusted by her song.
You don't have to be perfect to criticize anyone. This is so dumb.
But she was not going to admit to lies and rumors. As if she was speaking from her critic's point of view, Colleen sang, quote, "Hey everybody, I found someone new to harass. She did some things that I do not like in her past. So
right. It's just that we don't like them, Dr. Todd. Thanks for quoting this at length.
So everybody gather round because we're about to attack, but not based on facts." Unquote. Colleen talked about how she has made mistakes, but she pushed back against the criticism by pointing out that it was not fun to have millions of people calling her disgusting, vile, and horrendous.
Oh my God, he is morally bankrupt.
Colleen said, quote, "The only thing I ever groomed is my 2 Persian cats. I'm not a groomer."
He just shared the fucking evidence of her sending sexual texts to kids. He just didn't pick up that they were kids. Like, having inappropriate relationships with kids. Like, he shared that.
"Just a loser who didn't understand I shouldn't respond to fans." Unquote. She suggested that many people thought she was a predator because she made a joke about flatulence. She never had bad intentions. Colleen repeated the toxic gossip train refrain before talking about how people make mistakes. She said, quote, "Sometimes people make mistakes simply because they made a mistake."
I mean, when you do a response as a channel with over 1 million subscribers to another channel with over 1 million subscribers, you don't need to sum it up word for word. You can just kind of jump into your analysis.
And that mistake doesn't make them a terrible human. It just makes them human, unquote. After pausing for a moment, Colleen concluded the video by saying, quote, "But what do I know? Blank me, right?" Unquote. Now moving to my analysis.
Yeah, I love when people are full of self-pity when they're faced with the prospect of accountability. That's always fantastic. You try to hold someone accountable and they just express self-pity. That shows a real lack of readiness to change.
Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case.
Oh, yeah.
Number 1, as is the case with any high-profile apology video, there were a variety of reactions to Colleen's musical adventure.
That's not your analysis. That's just another fact about the situation, dude. He goes, "I'm going to start my analysis," and then just gives another fact of the situation.
It would appear as though many people are not happy with the content of her apology, believing Colleen to be insincere.
Oh, how could people get the impression that she's insincere based on all the details you just explained word for word? She called it a toxic gossip train of people talking about their experiences with her. So it's not a question of sincerity. It's a question of overall what she's saying. Doesn't matter if she's sincere. It would, yeah, it's not a question of sincerity at all, actually.
The video has a decidedly confrontational and negative tone and contains harsh criticisms of Colleen's detractors. I don't think that the video that Colleen released was actually an apology video.
Good job, Todd. It's very, very obvious. I mean, you do call it an apology video. I guess you forgot the quotes.
It was an admonishment, a scathing indictment of cancel culture.
Wow. So when he put scathing in his title, he really did mean it was scathing about other people, not Ballinger. And he considers her lack of apology for her actions to be a scathing indictment of cancel culture. Wow. Morally and intellectually bankrupt.
Colleen was trying to communicate that there is nothing she can do to satisfy her detractors.
That is blatant manipulation, dude. You fall for that?
She accepted responsibility for her behavior, but that is not enough.
No, she didn't, dude. How did she do that?
For some people. I think that...
Yes, some people want more than non-apology. What are you talking about? He's like, she didn't give an apology, and somehow that wasn't okay for people. He's just like so confused. He's like, first point, she did not give an apology. Second point, somehow it wasn't good enough for people.
I think that Colleen's video does reveal a truth about the world of social media celebrities.
Wow, dude.
It underscores how people rarely change their minds once one of these scandals gets rolling. If an attitude change does occur, it's often not due to anything the celebrity said or sang.
I don't know anything about Dr. Todd Grande, but every time anyone impulsively and irrationally takes the side of someone being accused of harassing or abusing others, I absolutely wonder what skeletons are in the closet of the person taking the side of that person being accused. I always wonder what skeletons are in their closet.
Instead of just doing nothing in response to criticism, Colleen is striking back. She is standing up for herself in a ukulele-fueled rebuke. One could argue that she is offering a Miranda warning. She is using all the criticism directed at her against the people who made it. Item number 2, the gravamen of the complaint against Colleen is really about boundaries.
The what?
The gravamen of the complaint against Colleen.
The gravamen? Gravamen is a complaint or grievance in the ground of a legal action. What the fuck planet are you from, dude?
The gravamen of the complaint against Colleen is really about boundaries.
The gravamen of the complaint is just like the complaint of the complaint.
Gravamen of the complaint against Colleen is really about boundaries, which is something she acknowledged in her apology musical.
It's about her harming minors, actually. It's not about boundaries. It's about... Boundaries are a part of it, for sure, but it's about harming minors. You literally, like, slam your car into a restaurant, like, smash all the glass and, like hurt people, and you're like, I'm sorry, I know, this is an issue of boundaries. I definitely take responsibility for this. But, come on. Give me a break.
Colleen did not understand how to be a celebrity. She didn't know how to manage relationships with fans. I think she did violate boundaries, and that behavior is not acceptable. But at the same time, I am underwhelmed by the small number of complaints, given the sheer quantity of videos that Colleen has produced.
Dude, that is like such a messed up thing to say. Like, you're underwhelmed by the small number of complaints given how much video footage she has? Honestly, Dr. Todd, like, you went through a few of the victims and, like, you presented the information in ways that were either verifiably false or just completely missing the point. You even didn't realize that it was minors that she was talking to in her chat, asking them questions about their virginity, Dr. Todd. And this is underwhelming to you. So what do you need to be whelmed, and why are you like this? Because hopefully people can see through this guy now when he makes it this explicit what his agenda is. He doesn't want to challenge his privilege. He doesn't want to challenge his status or the status of anyone who he can identify with in any way. A fellow famous YouTuber, you know, who he identifies with. He apparently hates this concept called cancel culture enough that maybe it warps his mind, but it's probably more of a effect than a cause. But wow, man, you're underwhelmed, and you are choosing to. Yeah, you are choosing to let yourself be underwhelmed. And you do accept what she did. So don't say that you don't. Don't say it's unacceptable when you do accept it.
And that behavior is not acceptable. But at the same time, I am underwhelmed by the small number of complaints, given the sheer quantity of videos that Colleen has produced.
You know, sometimes, Todd, instead of looking at quantity, you actually have to look at qualities of a situation. Maybe that's really good that you're retired from being a counselor, and I hope you never work as a counselor again.
On YouTube alone, she has published over 3,500 videos. This doesn't count for any other social media, TV, Netflix, or other places.
Oh, are we back to the resume?
Ostensibly, Colleen has also communicated with fans frequently, probably thousands of interactions. Yet, there are only a few complaints.
Officer, I only murdered someone 1 out of 10,000 times I met someone. I only drove drunk 1 out of 1,000 times I drove. Officer, I only harassed minors dozens of times throughout my career. Like, literally, that's his argument.
Colleen became popular for playing a character who was spontaneous, energetic, immature, charismatic.
He is absolutely doing apologetics here and giving excuses. This is not giving reasons like I do when I talk about some people's motivations. This is absolutely justification.
Emotionally reactive and boundary violating. It makes sense that a person who could play this type of character might be a little bit impulsive themselves. The very characteristics that made Colleen famous are now being used against her.
Actually, it's really not that simple, and it's remarkable that you're willing to look at it that way.
This isn't fair to Colleen. In a way, it's like people being mad at a boxer for being aggressive when they are not in the ring. People cannot separate themselves from their personality characteristics.
Oh, can't they, Dr. Todd? So what are your personality characteristics? That you're a cactus?
Item number 3. For some of those who disliked the apology video, it wasn't just about the content. It was the fact
people dislike it. It's not that people, have moral, righteous outrage about it. And yeah, a boxer is not allowed to just go around beating people up, Dr. Todd.
For some of those who disliked the apology video, it wasn't just about the content. It was the fact that Colleen apologized in the form of a musical. People have argued that this does not show a respect for the topic.
Yeah. What are you going to say to that one, Todd?
I disagree.
Oh.
I've always been a big fan of the arts in general.
Dude, what? Like, seriously, what are you talking about? How could you possibly say that in this context to 1 million subscribers? A does not even connect to B. The idea that respect and love of the arts is relevant in this conversation?
I like almost all types of art. I'm particularly fond of movie musicals, and I think there's nothing wrong with telling a story with music. I've watched many musicals several times.
Yeah, good for you, man. It comes down to he does not think she did anything wrong, so why even fucking talk about the song? He doesn't think she did anything wrong, so that's the important thing. He thinks it was a little boundary violating, but hey, we should think about it from her perspective.
Like The Greatest Showman, Grease, Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh, he likes Grease, where there's assault that is sort of praised within the storyline, and the person who commits assault ends up with the person they assaulted after never apologizing. And I have a whole video about my thoughts on Grease if you want to learn more about that on my main channel. Yeah, interesting that he likes Grease.
And Mamma Mia. The final scene of La La Land was nothing short of pure genius, except for that trumpet solo.
Dude, seriously, stop making videos.
I'm not sure what they were thinking there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're thinking.
Either way, music is a valid way to tell a story. I find it curious that Colleen is well known for her musical talent, yet people criticize her for using it to make an apology.
Wow, you're making that same argument again. And your argument, just so you're clear, is oh, you say that you enjoy drinking water? Well, why don't you like being drowned?
I think the music actually softens the blow that Colleen is delivering. Again, her video is not really about apologizing. It's about standing up for herself. Colleen is saying something like, I am a human being too.
Does he know what he's saying? Does he know how it comes off and what he's actually saying? It's not clear to me that he actually predicted how his audience would feel about this. Either way, it's abysmal judgment that this man has.
Like any person would. It's a fair statement, accompanied by music or not. Now moving to my final thoughts. I think it's reasonable to believe that Colleen was hurt by the criticism she received. If nothing else, this indicates that she heard the complaints and was open to the idea that they could be valid.
That's what you took away from this. You admit she's not apologizing. You say she's doing a scathing, denouncement of cancel culture. That's what you say. And yet you also say that her video shows that she's open to change. So she doesn't even have to apologize in your mind to show that she's open to change just because she is acknowledging the people she hurt by calling them gossiping.
At some point, however, Colleen was done listening. She reached her limit as far as feedback. She apologized and was ready to move on. What should the cost be when a social media influencer makes a mistake?
They should never be able to be around children again. Miranda should never, or whatever fuck, Colleen Ballinger should never be able to be around children again. And she should likely not have a career.
What is the point of even acknowledging a mistake if redemption is not a possibility?
It is a possibility, and she didn't apologize, so she doesn't even get to start down that path.
What more can Colleen do to receive absolution?
Apologize. You admit she didn't even apologize. You listen to yourself.
Colleen wants to convince people that she is a weird loser, not an intentional boundary violator.
Which is a form of manipulation. Do you perceive that, Todd?
She makes a convincing argument.
Yeah. Wow.
Which I suppose is both a good and a bad thing at the same time. I guess one could say that rather than face the music, Colleen decided to strike a chord. It didn't hit the right note with everyone, but it was definitely not the same.
Maybe it's the complete lack of emotion, but his teleprompter is too obvious.
Old song and dance. The world will not be in harmony over the routine, but I think Colleen had the right to belt it out. I just hope for her sake this apology video is not her swan song. Those are my thoughts in the case of Colleen Ballinger's apology video.
Worthless, but worth at least showing your audience how morally and intellectually bankrupt you are at this point, Todd.
Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comments section.
They did, and you didn't respond to any of them.
They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching. As one could imagine, this particular video topic offered a lot of opportunities for puns in the thumbnails. I could only select one, so I went with Miranda nauseates, a play on Miranda sings. But I had three other.
That's not a pun. Holy shit, you don't even know what a pun is and you're into puns? That is transparently not a pun. I'm sorry, but that's not a pun. The word has to sound similar.
Puns in the thumbnails.
And why would you...
A play on Miranda sings.
This guy has weird vibes.
But I had three other good ones, two of which I alluded to in the video. Miranda warning. I think that one's pretty good. Swan song, also kind of catchy. But my second favorite, after Miranda nauseates, is Singing to Cause Pain, a play on the musical Singing in the Rain. Sometimes
that is... The idea that singing to cause pain is a play on the word singing in the rain is like represents a complete misunderstanding of puns and rhythm and language. And it's really amazing that a man like this who misunderstands morality and relationships in such a severe way also is obsessed with puns and fundamentally does not understand how they work. Just on an intuitive level, we just saw multiple examples of Miranda nauseates is not a play on Miranda sings. That's not a pun. I mean, no, I'm sorry. It is a play on Miranda sings, but it's not a pun. Miranda nauseates is like you're twisting it, sure, but that's not a pun. You would have to be like Miranda brings or something. I'm pretty sure that's how puns work. And then this idea that you could say singing to cause pain is a play on singing in the rain. You know, you have to have more of the variables be fixed. You have to say singing in the pain. Singing in the pain would work, Todd. Here's your free fucking lesson on your favorite goddamn thing. I don't often get this animated. What is this guy's fucking deal, though? Tone deaf with a picture of her and the ukulele. Perfect. If that was something that he agreed with and he was smart enough to think of it, yeah. The video we just saw is from less than a month ago. We are going to watch a video from 6 months ago that has less views about Andrew Callaghan, a case I also know about, and I did a video on All Gas No Brakes years ago before it came out that he had engaged in coercion and I believe sexual harassment or behaviors in that he made people uncomfortable, he made people unsafe. It was really a big deal for these allegations to come out because he's like a very trusted, respected young person in the field of media and online shit. And so it was definitely a big moment for a lot of people, myself included, to be like, holy shit, he has done these things. And he's had these patterns of behavior, Andrew Callaghan, that were really like violating, and he made himself a very unsafe person to be around. I think it was very good that everything came out with him, and I think it helped him probably move down the path of accountability. His apology was not good, and I did watch it on the stream a while ago, but there were certain points where it faltered on not really being an apology, but it did at least attempt to apologize in ways that Colleen Ballinger did not. For lots of reasons. We don't have to go into the differences there. We probably will when I watch this video. But, knowing that Dr. Todd Grande doesn't like apology videos and is biased against them completely and thinks they shouldn't exist. But sometimes I guess he, is into them when they're not apology videos. We're going to look at what he said, 6 months ago. We're going to look at what he said about this. Does All Gas No Brakes host refuse to take no for an answer? We can consult this article if we want to read a different sort of take on what Todd will be talking about, if we feel that would be helpful at any point. This video answers the question, can I analyze the case of Andrew Callaghan? The previous video answered the question, yeah, it definitely did. So I'm sure this will answer it also.
Well, this is Dr. Grande.
He can't say hello for some reason. He doesn't know that hello is a 2-syllable word.
Well, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Andrew Callaghan? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this.
He didn't say anything about diagnoses in the previous video. Like, he doesn't have to just say that. It makes him sound like professional, I guess, to say that, but like he doesn't even venture towards diagnosis. So like, why say it?
If you enjoy this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I'll put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of Andrew Callaghan, move to some of the allegations made against him, take a look at his apology video, then offer my analysis.
Okay, I'm not going to get upset if he spends the first 4 minutes again talking about background details in excessive detail. I'm just not going to let it upset me if he does it again.
Andrew Callaghan was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on April 23, 1997.
He just said April 23.
He was raised in Seattle, Washington. Andrew claims that when he was 13, he consumed excessive quantities of a psychotropic drug and has had chronic perceptual distortions.
Wow, I did a lot of deep dive on him. I didn't know that. That's a very interesting fact to focus on. I have no idea where you got that information. I didn't know about that experience or the fact that he has perceptual distortions, and I did a lot of research about him. Watched like the 2-hour interview, like several long-form interviews, and never heard him mention that.
After graduating from high school, Andrew began interviewing people as part of an interest he had in journalism. He spoke with a variety of people, like protesters who were active in Seattle at that time. Andrew moved to New Orleans, Louisiana, and worked as a doorman in the French Quarter. He attended Loyola University on a full scholarship. He studied journalism and contributed articles to the university newspaper. Andrew eventually left his job as a doorman in favor of conducting interviews on the streets of New Orleans. He targeted people who were intoxicated and asked them about their darkest secrets. He used these interviews to create a series he called Quarter Confessions and uploaded the series to social media. Sometime around 2017, Andrew hitchhiked across the United States for 70 days. He collected various stories from his adventure. In 2019, he published a book containing these stories titled All Gas, No Brakes, A Hitchhiker's Diary.
Yeah, I'm just going to let it keep going. I have nothing that I could possibly say to any of this. It's just background information. I guess it's his style. He wants to, yeah, fair enough. It's his style. He wants to go into all these details. But there's nothing I can say, really, about most of this.
A production company called Doing Things Media agreed to produce a series based on this book. The idea behind it was that Andrew would drive around in a recreational vehicle with his friends and conduct interviews.
Can't really get over the fact that he just mentioned that Andrew has perceptual distortions, chronic perceptual distortions, as like one of the very first things.
Andrew was paid $45,000 a year plus expenses by Doing Things Media. In exchange, the company took ownership of the intellectual property rights to the All Gas, No Brakes brand.
Yeah, it's totally irrelevant to the point, but it is a very good lesson in read your contracts and don't sign a bad contract with a big company. But yeah, again, totally irrelevant to the issue at hand.
The series was uploaded on YouTube and was quite successful. For the interviews, Andrew mostly targeted people with bizarre beliefs, extreme lifestyles, and unusual ways of making a living. He would look for the most controversial events he could find as he drove across the country. Eventually, the production company became uncomfortable with the work that Andrew was producing. He and his crew were fired.
Oh, I think that's a really bad summary of it. He had an okay, so this is from before the things came out. Oh, it's by Taylor Lorenz. Wow. This is from 2021. I signed an employment contract without reading it. Lesson learned. But I thought it had something to do with... So apparently Mr. Haley... Hold on, who's Mr. Haley? This is why you have to read the whole article. One of the founders of Doing Things Media. According to people who worked on the show, one of the founders of Doing Things Media asked Mr. Callaghan to focus on party content rather than news. So they were pressured to make the show less political. It's just really, really interesting because I don't think Dr. Todd Grande would agree with Andrew Callaghan's politics at all. I don't think he would be in any way in agreement. So I think it's very interesting that he chose to leave out that Andrew Callaghan, actually the issue was about the political nature of the content rather than party content. You know, it wasn't just that they had issues with the controversialness. It was specifically about the politicalness. I know that might seem like a small difference. I just think it's interesting because I know Todd would not agree with Andrew Callaghan's politics. I think he's not as left-wing.
He and his crew were fired in March of 2021. Andrew and a different production company.
But again, all of this is totally irrelevant, so I feel stupid talking about it. I just wanted to point out that Todd sort of missed a detail there. Like, you include so many details, why not say why they felt uncomfortable with the content?
Andrew and a different production company produced a documentary that was released on HBO in December of 2022 called This Place Rules. The documentary
I still never saw it. I'm not really interested. I fell out with his content well before this stuff came out about the way he treats other people in his life. I just fell out with this content. Wasn't my vibe anymore.
December of 2022.
I'm not just saying that, obviously. I wouldn't say that. It still was really shocking to learn how he treated others in his life. That was still really shocking.
The documentary covers Andrew as he drives across the United States and conducts interviews in the months preceding the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. In April of 2021, Andrew started uploading videos on YouTube using the name Channel 5. This series is pretty similar to his prior work. Here are a few video titles that capture the theme of the channel pretty well. Alex Jones Interview, Satanic Temple Gathering, The People's Convoy, Utah Rap Festival, and Miami Beach Spring Break. Essentially, Andrew interviews people who are willing to embarrass themselves or do not have the insight to recognize that they are embarrassing themselves. Andrew really doesn't talk much during these interviews, and some have argued he doesn't really have anything meaningful to say.
I've literally never heard anyone say that.
Now moving to the timeline of the allegations. In early January 2020.
Okay, so I was right. Yep, about the same as the Colleen Ballinger video. Todd wanted to spend the first 4 minutes just giving a very detailed summary.
In early January 2023, Andrew was accused by two women of pressuring them into having sex.
Okay, I wouldn't, again, in this Colleen Ballinger video, he says like people accuse and people allege, but that's a very biased way to put it. You could just say this person said in a TikTok video this month that she allowed Callaghan to stay in her home, but was, quote, very clear about the fact that we were not hooking up. Elise alleged, and yeah, you can say alleged, but you can also say that they said it too. You don't have to defer to these sort of verbs all the time. Elise alleged that Callaghan got into her bed and kept pushing her until she agreed, quote, to do things I wasn't proud of. This is so fucked up. And like, it's so awesome that people feel confident coming out with this, because I think it raises the awareness of our entire society to take accountability for our actions. Like, this is so good for men and like anyone to think about, yeah, this is not okay. Elise said that although Callaghan eventually got her consent, it was only, quote, because he wore me down. That is coercion, textbook coercion. A second woman who goes by Dana online alleged that Callaghan once started touching her without consent while she was driving him home. She alleged that he touched her inner thigh, kissed her neck, and tried to put his hand down her pants. Dana, who did not respond to her request for comment, said that she previously had consensual sex with Callaghan, but that she did not want to have sex with him again. Callaghan did not address the allegations specifically. He described his actions as a type of sex pest behavior. Yeah, so it's obviously better than Colleen Ballinger's apology in that regard. But yeah, he did minimize, he did avoid responsibility in various ways.
Andrew was accused by 2 women of pressuring them into having sex. After this, 2 additional alleged victims came forward. One accuser said that she was 18 at the time of the alleged incident. Here is her accusation. She and Andrew were at an apartment where Andrew was staying.
Like, you could say, here is her story. That doesn't mean you're saying, I verified it and know for sure it's true in every detail. You can still say, here is her experience, here is her story. You don't have to always say it's allegations or accusations. You don't have to always frame it as, you know, what does he say, allegations?
Accusation.
Accusation.
At the time of the alleged incident. Here is her accusation. She and Andrew were at an apartment where Andrew was staying. They consumed alcohol and watched a movie. Out of nowhere, there was an abrupt shift in Andrew's tone. She consented to him kissing her, but when he tried to progress with his activities, she told him no. She indicated that Andrew wasn't taking a simple no for an answer, which pushed her to make up a series of excuses as to why she did not want to have sex.
So Todd just read a story of someone saying very clearly that Andrew did not take no for an answer, that Andrew Callaghan did not take no for an answer. So why did he title the video, Does Andrew Callaghan Refuse to Take No for an Answer? And like, why call him the host years after he's no longer the host and no longer affiliated with that? But more importantly, why would you say, does he refuse to take no for an answer, when you know and you just said that someone had the experience of him refusing to take no for an answer?
Eventually, Andrew discontinued his advances. Another alleged victim, who goes by the name Caroline, described a similar situation, one where Andrew was pushy. Caroline said that she met Andrew at a bar in Florida in March of 2021. She did not think that the meeting was romantic. All of a sudden, the vibe shifted. Andrew was buying her drinks and trying to impress her. Andrew attempted to kiss her, but she turned him down. They went back to her apartment, where Andrew became persistent. He repeatedly asked for sex. Initially, she told him no, but eventually agreed to various sexual acts. She had a panic attack after waking...
That's coercion. He coerced her. He didn't take no for an answer. Todd just made it very clear. So he better come to the conclusion that Andrew didn't take no for an answer, right?
She had a panic attack after waking up at 4 a.m. and kicked Andrew out of her apartment a few hours later. Caroline suggested that she contacted Andrew sometime later, asking him to contribute money toward her therapy bills. Andrew's lawyer indicated that someone tried to extort Andrew, although the attorney did not say that it was Caroline.
He should obviously pay for her therapy bills. He's fucking rich. He should pay thousands and thousands of dollars to his victims, at the very least.
A legal representative for Andrew...
If they want the money.
A legal representative for Andrew responded to the accusations against Andrew by saying, quote, Andrew is devastated that he is being accused of any type of physical or mental coercion against anyone. Conversations about pressure and consent are extremely important, and Andrew wants to have these conversations so he can continue to learn and grow, unquote. On January 15, 2023, Andrew released an apology video on his YouTube channel. It is about 4.5 minutes long. Here's a summary of this video. Much of this is paraphrased. Andrew starts by saying he wants to be fully accountable and transparent. He never thought he would have to make a video like this. He extended his thanks to everyone who accused him of making them uncomfortable during sexual situations. He knows it was hard for them to speak out, and it was hard for him to hear. Andrew was previously unaware that he engaged in this pattern of behavior. When the accusations became public, Andrew was in a state of denial and spiraled into a mental health crisis. After once again stating that he wants to be held fully accountable, Andrew offers a clarification about the allegations against him. He claimed that he has always taken no for an answer and never overstepped the line of consent.
Yeah, that was the fucked up thing about Andrew's video. This is the good thing about Todd saying it all like almost verbatim. It can refresh my memory. He very much made it unclear what he was really sorry about, because he said that he engaged in coercion, or he made it seem like he understood that. And then he also said that he always respected consent. That is an inherent contradiction. You absolutely have to understand that like coercing someone and pushing someone for sex is not respecting consent. Period. The end.
For a long time, he thought his behavior was normal. He believed that if a person left a bar alone, they were a loser. Persistence was a form of flattery. And when
like he shouldn't have. Like, okay, I guess it's fine to share that stuff, to talk about the culture, but it feels weird to even go in. But yeah, I guess it's good to talk about the culture of toxic masculinity, I guess. I don't know. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way too when he did that in this video.
Potential romantic interest said no. She was simply playing hard to get. Andrew wants to be held responsible.
No, I guess that's good. I guess that's part of an apology, saying, here's how deep this fucked up ideology goes, and I need to spend a lot of time unraveling it.
Said no. She was simply playing hard to get. Andrew wants to be held responsible for not having an understanding of what enthusiastic, two-way consent looks like.
That's a good way to put it. And obviously, Andrew Callaghan didn't come up with the idea of enthusiastic consent. But enthusiastic two-way consent is a good way to frame it in your mind. If you're ever unsure of what consent means, think of it as enthusiastic two-way consent. You don't have to be unsure at all. That's what it is, and that's how it should feel and be.
At this point, the tone of the video changes somewhat. Andrew said that many statements being made against him online are not true. Contextual information is missing from these accounts. If people saw this information, they would change their minds about Andrew's behavior. Andrew is not sure what comes next to him for his career.
Yeah, like that's a really negative influence on anything approaching an apology for him to have said that, right? Obviously. Sort of like, oh, I apologize, but also I have stuff that would totally blow your mind and make it so like you barely thought I had to apologize.
He's going to start therapy sessions and attend Alcoholics Anonymous 12-step meetings.
Meaning he didn't even know that this shit was wrong, I guess. Why does Dr. Todd Grande's set look like this? I don't know. Why do you all think he has a thing for cacti? Does he subsist on an extremely small amount of nourishment and fulfillment? I don't know. Is it something else?
Andrew concludes the apology video by saying that he understands if people don't want to watch his channel anymore, but he hopes they remember the message of radical empathy and media literacy.
Yeah, it was a really not a good thing to say in his video.
Now moving to my analysis. Andrew's apology video appeared to be carefully planned. I don't think that he was being spontaneous.
Yeah, it felt like it had been filtered through a lawyer or two.
It's clear that he was reading from some type of script. I think the objective of this apology video wasn't really to apologize, rather to defend himself and escape the consequences of his alleged behavior.
I think it was too, and that I'm glad that Todd said that. Yeah. I felt like it was predominantly in that direction. He like had bits of apology in there, but it did feel predominantly like it was defensive.
Andrew knew that if he simply denied the allegations without making other statements, people would not listen to his message. I think he crafted his message in order to appear open to change, empathic and thoughtful, while gently pointing out that he didn't actually do what he was accused of doing.
Whoa, this is so weird. After watching the Colleen Ballinger video, why is he so much better at analyzing this situation?
I would divide the messages contained in Andrew's apology video into 5 different parts. In part number 1, Andrew made many statements to put his accusers and people who sympathize with his accusers at ease. For example, he repeatedly mentioned how he wanted to take full responsibility. Andrew wanted to be accountable. He was eager to thank people for accusing him and implied that they were courageous for coming forward.
Because he likes musicals.
In part number 2, Andrew attempts to mitigate the severity of his alleged behavior. For example, he thought his behavior was normal. He was unaware of the pattern he was falling into. He thought that he was actually complimenting women by being persistent. Andrew tries to reframe his alleged behavior as a misunderstanding about power dynamics and pressure.
Yes, he did. He minimized it in that way.
There are some mental health issues that may be at play. He wouldn't want to blame alcohol, but alcohol is to blame. And he did not understand what enthusiastic two-way consent looked like. I find it interesting that he felt compelled to use the term two-way. Is there any other kind of consent?
Well, the reason I said that was a helpful way to frame it is just to make it very, like, that is a part of consent. Of course, it goes without saying that consent is two. No, consent is one way. You each give your consent. And then the idea is that you want to make sure that both people are affirmatively giving their consent. No, it's, like, obvious that both people should be giving consent, but it's just helpful to state it. I mean, you state a lot of obvious things, too.
Maybe Andrew wants to be a pioneer in the new area of one-way consent.
No, that's not funny, dude. What the fuck, dude?
Part number 3 is...
Yo, dude's got a twisted sense of humor, and it's not funny. And it does not hit.
The denial. Andrew didn't spend too much time on this, but he made it clear. He has always taken no for an answer and has never overstepped the line of consent.
It was full-on denial. See, like, I agree with the points Todd is making, just he says them in really weird, messed up ways.
In addition, many statements about him online would be interpreted differently if people had more information. Andrew's denial directly contradicts what his accusers are saying and, in essence, completely invalidate the entire apology video. In part number 4, Andrew explains to the audience what he is going to do to fix the problem that he denies having. He will receive mental health therapy and figure himself out. In part number 5,
yeah, it was extremely confusing and contradictory.
Andrew reminds his audience that he just had a movie that came out, and he's only 25 years old. He has his whole life ahead of him. Andrew is going to be okay, despite any accusations. He has plenty of time to wait until the negative attention dies down. Moving on with my analysis, I don't think that Andrew's work is impressive, but it's clear that he is intelligent.
Excuse me, what?
Moving on with my analysis, I don't think that Andrew's work is impressive.
So the first thing Todd wants to say in his analysis of this attempt Andrew Callaghan seemed to make at least appearing to take accountability for very significant harmful behaviors. Todd's first point of analysis is that he doesn't like All Gas No Brakes in Channel 5. Because he's not talking about the apology when he says his work. He's talking about All Gas No Brakes in Channel 5. It's just bizarre to start your analysis with that point.
I don't think that Andrew's work is impressive, but it's clear that he is intelligent. He has a degree in journalism and is articulate. He worked diligently to demonstrate to people that he had insight, like he knew something important or had some special talent, which should result in people paying attention to him. Yet, in this apology video, he denies wrongdoing and makes excuses for any potential misunderstandings. So, which is it? Does he have insight, or is he so reckless in potential romantic situations that he can't be trusted to make good decisions? Andrew can't have it both ways. If the accusations are true, then it casts doubt on this idea that he is a perceptive and trustworthy journalist. Some have argued that Andrew viewed himself as on a mission to point out hypocrisy. Maybe this is just part of a clever plan, like he has achieved his goal by using himself as an example.
Dude, what? He's using an example showing that he's hypocritical. Why are you even giving airtime to that? What are you even talking about? Why would that be?
I think one of the most worrisome parts of this story with Andrew, if the allegations are true, is how some people make it seem as though consent is some type of magical mystery that cannot be understood.
What? In reference to what?
No one can comprehend it. Like there are all these people out there saying to themselves, is this potential romantic partner consenting? Are they saying yes? Are they saying no? Who can figure these?
No, seriously though, what the fuck is he talking about? How would he take that away from this situation? And who is he saying wants consent to be completely mystified? You must be talking about Andrew, right?
Like there are all these people out there saying to themselves, is this potential romantic partner consenting? Are they saying yes? Are they saying no? Who can figure these things out? I suppose every type of human interaction has the potential to include a gray area, but with consent, it's relatively straightforward. People know whether another person is consenting or not. It's not rocket science. Yeah,
Sure, right. So no one's making it out to be, man.
Yeah, individuals like Andrew portray consent as some type of mystery that the human race must aspire to solve.
So it seems that Todd is implying that it's bizarre for a man to admit that he had issues understanding consent. And like, it's bizarre to Todd that someone could say, I'm going to have to spend a significant amount of time making sure I can appreciate consent. To Todd, that's portraying it as some unknowable mystery to represent that it may take effort and work to correct messed up ideas about consent. And I wonder if Todd just doesn't think there are widely populated messed up ideas of consent. Does Todd Grande believe in the idea of rape culture? Does Todd Grande believe that there is a culture where it is normalized for consent to be denied or minimized in the minds of often men? Because Todd's comments make it seem that he doesn't believe in a culture like that, so he doesn't understand why someone would make it out to be an amount of effort. And so, like, the one sort of potential genuine side of Andrew Callaghan's apology video, Todd Grande, like, takes issue with. Like, the idea that Andrew Callaghan's going to strive to understand consent better, even though he, like, later sort of contradicts that in his own apology video by saying, you know, that he never violated consent. It's very confusing. But yeah, still, the way Todd takes issue with this is really bonkers. Yeah.
It's right up there with the Loch Ness Monster, the Bermuda Triangle, and Bigfoot. There's this sense that if Andrew ever found Bigfoot, his first question would be, can you explain consent to me?
Your sense of humor is pathological, man. I'm going to be honest with you. And it would be better if you had no sense of humor.
I just can't figure this out. Now moving to my final thoughts. I don't know whether the allegations against Andrew Callaghan are true or false.
I think you're misunderstanding here. He's saying that those people who claim to be confused about consent actually know better and simply don't care. Yeah, he's saying that Andrew Callaghan is acting as if consent is unknowable to deny his wrongdoing. And my response is, Andrew is denying his wrongdoing, but he is not making it out that consent is unknowable, and that's a bizarre sort of thing to even think that's going on. What Andrew Callaghan is doing is saying on the one hand that he didn't respect people's consent, and then on the other hand saying that he did respect people's consent. But I don't think that's the same as portraying consent as unknowable. I think that's being in denial and sort of lying and misrepresenting the facts. But this idea that consent is unknowable, like, because the only reason I'm taking issue with this is because the degree that Todd seems upset that with this idea of people saying consent is unknowable, it seems to me like he's on this other extreme of like consent is so obvious that like men should not even interrogate their relationship to it. And he's not saying that. I'm not saying he's saying that. But it feels to me like he's taking issue with like one of the only good things about Andrew Callaghan's apology, which was the half of him saying, oh, I will try to interrogate my relationship to consent. I think a lot of men admit to the lesser crime of being ignorant of the rules or consent rather than flagrantly ignoring consent and violently forcing yourself upon someone. I didn't assault her, I just didn't understand. You know, yes. And that's why a good apology really gets into why you didn't understand. And what was the case and how you're going to make sure you do understand in the future. And knowing, like what parts of it was I conscious about, what parts were I not conscious. The parts I was not conscious about, why was I not conscious about that? And how do I take as much responsibility for that as possible to make sure it doesn't happen again?
If they are true, Andrew has been living up to his motto of all gas, no brakes.
Dude, that's such an inappropriate fucking comment to make about sexual coercion, dude.
None of the accusations involve any type of criminal allegation, but they are still concerning in the sense that they suggest manipulative behavior and they potentially caused harm to people. The allegations speak to the issue of whether Andrew can be trusted.
No, the allegations speak to the issue of widespread male violence against women and non-men in general. That's what the allegations speak to, and an entire culture of coercion and sexual violence, Todd.
I find it interesting that Andrew made his living getting people to trust him quickly. Perhaps that's what he was trying to do with this apology video. He was so confident in his abilities to defuse the situation that he only committed 4.5 minutes to it. His attempt was unconvincing and unsuccessful. Perhaps Andrew should consider changing his motto to all harass, no brains. Those are my thoughts in the case of Andrew Callaghan. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.
Y'all, I'm kind of blown away. I did not expect these two videos to be so radically different. I mean, the way he talks about Colleen Ballinger and takes her side, even though she doesn't even attempt to apologize. And then he doesn't have the slightest bit of understanding. Like, I'm not saying I expect anyone to forgive Andrew Callaghan, but like the remarkable contrast between full empathy and unquestionable, uncritical, all she did was violate some boundaries and she took responsibility for it. Those were his words. The contrast between that and like, that is wild to me. I really don't know what to make of that. Wow. Just remarkable. At the end of the day, his take on Andrew Callaghan is perfectly good. He said a bunch of things that were really bizarre, but like, he comes out very clearly like, yeah, it seems like he didn't take no for an answer. And his puns are all harass, no brains. Rather than with Colleen Ballinger when it was like, what did he even say? He said he hopes it's not her swan song. That's what he said. He hopes it's not her swan song. Which is like not a pun. And also it's obviously totally supportive of her. So like, why did he even put Miranda nauseates on the thumbnail, which is also not a pun, if that expresses a totally different sentiment than his final non-pun, which again was that he hopes it wasn't her swan song, so he hopes her career continues. Yeah, at the end of the day, people liked it. Yeah, of course. So I hope what we can understand is that Todd Grande does not actually have a very coherent understanding of apologies. And he did this old one of a Colleen Ballinger apology. We're not going to watch it. He did one about a 3-year-old Colleen Ballinger apology. You can find that if you want, I guess. What we're now going to discuss is this one Reddit post brought to my attention that Todd Grande is a transphobe. Now, I'm not surprised because a lot of people who cover these like sort of sensationalized cases of like a specific trans person, often that's, very indicative, like, to cover something like that. It's like, okay, you're adding to hysteria in a time when a vulnerable minority group is being targeted by the state. So I hope you feel good about that. It's really the wrong side of history. But so anyways, this Reddit post says that in his video about Dylan Mulvaney, he says another area of here we could find it. Another trans person that was given an absolutely absurd amount of attention because of I guess something involving Bud Light.
Of getting involved in a sponsorship arrangement with a transgender influencer. No executive wants their company to be the next Anheuser-Busch any more than they want to drink Bud Light. Item number 6. Another area of significance with this boycott is the failure of the far-left bullies.
So this is what he's taking away from the Dylan Mulvaney controversy. The failure of the far-left bullies.
The proponents of cancel culture to intimidate those upset with Bud Light's marketing campaign. It's difficult to apply the cancel culture to the public. There are millions of people upset with Bud Light.
For transphobic reasons, right, Todd?
I think this sets the tone for future political conflicts. All these intellectually lazy people falsely accusing others of being anti-trans and transphobic have nothing but words to offer. Like all bullies, all it took to defeat them was standing up to them. I think this boycott represents an inflection point as far as people's attitudes on the transgender ideology.
Oh no, what's the transgender ideology, buddy? Is the transgender ideology in the room with us right now? I am so glad you are not a practicing counselor anymore, and I please beg you to never become one again. In fact, I don't even know if you could, man.
There are many who are upset that gender is being redefined as a social construct without a consensus.
Wow. I'm not going to say anymore. I'm not going to read the rest of this post that gives a lot of other examples. I'm not going to watch more of this video. Anyone who would need an argument at this point, I'll see you in a few years. Okay. Well, very interesting guy, very interesting channel, and wow, so really remarkable stuff you're doing over there, Todd. Maybe you should take a break. Maybe take a little sabbatical. Maybe take a little sabbatical and shut down all your social medias until you can figure out what the heck is going on over there. How about that, Todd? That would just be grand if you could do that. Do you like that, Todd? That's a sort of pun. You could take that one to the bank with you. And then he puts himself, the same image of himself, in the corner of every video. Just the same image of himself in the corner of every video for like so long. So I hope we all learned a lot. I would just say be very critical of the people you watch on YouTube, including me, including anyone. Really question what they say, really make sure they're giving you the full presentation of things, because I think we saw how the truth can get twisted. So thanks for watching.